Okay, welcome everybody to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am John Broca, the Outlaw himself, back in the old days, but joined as always by a man who's bringing us great news in the present day, and that is the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. How are you?
Hello, Johnny boy! Yeah.
Look at my man in the robe, no less. What's going on there? What's the deal there? Are you just chilling out? What's going on?
Well, I don't get paid enough to get dressed for this show.
What? How dare you?
I'm very comfortable in my robe. Okay, and the more comfortable I am, the better the hot mic is going to be.
That's true. That's a very good point. We live for your comfort. We know you're more relaxed when you're delivering the news in your comfort. And certainly we know you can get more combative, though, when you're more comfortable as well with the fans. So that'll be interesting to see what people have to say as we go along here on the show. But we're excited. There's already 200 of you joining us live. Thanks so much. You'll excuse me that I'm chewing a bit of gum, but I've got some stuff going on in the side of my mouth, so I need to get a little bit of taste of some nice smelling food. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the truth here. I've told you this already, Jeff, but some people may not know this. This is an interesting situation that I'm in right now. No sugar, no carbohydrates, eating a lot of protein. I eat every 2 to 3 hours. I've lost 15 pounds so far in 3 weeks. It's kind of crazy, but I also get like some bad breath. So I have to, when I taste it, I have to put some gum in my mouth because I don't like to taste my bad breath. That's just the truth of it. That's how it goes when you remove a lot of the sugar content that you usually take or consume. So just letting you know, that's why I'm chewing gum today. So,
well, I mean, I can't smell your bad breath over the microphone, but
thank God.
I'm used to bad breath. Okay, my brother's breath smells like a zombie's asshole.
Wow, strong comments there, right off the bat. So, yeah, so I'm excited, but it's going well. You know, I'm enjoying it, so I'm much more. I got energy. I got all this kind of stuff going on. So just slowly.
Looks great. Was it by request? Did Mrs. Outlaw? Was she like, dude, you got to lose a few lbs? You're hurting me. Get off.
It's more a matter that I tipped the scales at 264, which is the heaviest I'd ever been, and I was like, okay, it's time. And then this sponsor who wants to sponsor us on another podcast I do, she reached out to me. She said, I heard it. I've got a program that I run out of Massachusetts. If you want to come be a part of it, I will send you all the food. I will send you everything for free. So I've been doing that for 3 weeks, and she's been incredible. And it's been working.
Gaining weight. You've been losing weight, and I think I've been gaining it because
How dare you? No way.
I have a strong chin, but
it's more of your baby fat.
To cover it up.
I think it's baby fat. It's baby fat. Come on. This is you look cute. You look cute. Come on. But we got so much to get into, ladies and gentlemen. This is not about the fat show. This is about, let's talk about entertainment. We got so much going on here. A lot of stories breaking even just before we're about to start the show. So there's a lot of things for us to talk about. A reminder, Streamlabs Super Chats are open. Support the show. Give love to the show. Send in your Streamlabs. Send in your Super Chat. You see the Streamlabs above Jeff's head. The address is also pinned in the chat and the description of this video. All right, Jeff, let's just jump into it because we got so much to cover here. Let's hit the first story, and that is this Highlander story. This broke as we were about to get on the air here. An exclusive from Justin Kroll that sources tell Deadline that UA, United Artists, and Scott Stuber are in final negotiations to secure the rights to a new version of Highlander based on that 1980s cult classic. Henry Cavill will star with John Wick director Chad Stahelski helming and will be released in the theater. Stuber and Nick Nesbitt will produce. Sources close to the situation say at the end of the day, Stahelski's vision for the film fit better into the Amazon model, but added it's a big win for everybody. But also, in addition to that, Jeff, they've also leaned into the Pacific Rim situation going on there. So Amazon making 2 purchases here, Pacific Rim and the Henry Cavill and Chad Stahelski's remake of Highlander. What are your thoughts on this? What does this mean? Where are they going with this? Does this make sense?
Not a fan. Not a fan of the direction. I mean, again, I gave Amazon the best grade out of anyone at CinemaCon. And
you did.
I saw original stuff, whether it's them taking a chance on Crime 101 with Chris Hemsworth or Mercy with Chris Pine. Chris Pratt. Sorry. You know, I saw them doing original stuff. And this just feels like literally, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, as like a variety reporter or whatever, what is the most stale IP? This is what I'm talking about. It's Masters of the Universe, Voltron, Highlander, which are now all at Amazon. Thundercats is another one everyone like clamors for. I mean, I remember like Thundercats, the story always did huge business at Variety, but it was just come on, are we for real? So to me, I mean, I wasn't a Pacific Rim guy for starters,
right?
Okay,
Guillermo del Toro,
and it's just such an expense. Like you don't need that. Look at your hits. Look at Reacher. You don't need a gigantic kaiju, right, to bring in an audience.
Yeah.
And so I think going this like stale IP route is the wrong way to go. Henry Cavill's in 2 of these movies, by the way.
Yeah, the
Voltron and Highlander. Okay. And now I know you have Chad Stahelski, and that's cool and all, but like, why did this movie get to Amazon? Because Lionsgate let it go. Lionsgate was like, Lionsgate didn't want to make it. They have a Henry Cavill movie that's been sitting on a shelf for a year. The Guy Ritchie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It just feels like Amazon's just like, trying to get this IP because it's IP, but to me, it means nothing.
Yeah, isn't it a mistake? I mean, remember Blade Runner? Like when Blade Runner 2049 came out, all these people were, and I thought, and I was one of them too. I thought, oh, this is going to make so much money because Blade Runner has become this, underground hit because it didn't do well initially, but it's grown in stature. Everyone talks about it as one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. Then the film came out, was, in my opinion, a bit of a masterpiece, but hardly anybody went to see it, and it didn't make that much money. Highlander, I think, is even more of a niche freaking property, so I don't understand remaking it with Henry Cavill unless you're going to do it to streaming, I guess, because of the success he had on Netflix with that show he had there on Netflix. Maybe that's the approach, so it's safer to go the streaming route than to go the theatrical route, but I don't know, man. It doesn't seem to bode well to bring back Highlander. Who the hell is clamoring for this? That's under 30 years old.
I mean, a Highlander series could have been an interesting way to go with it.
Which they already did.
At least then you're sort of maximizing it. But yeah, to me, just because there can only be one, I think there should be none.
Fair point. With Pacific Rim, though, you're not bringing anybody back, right? Who was a part of the original with Guillermo del Toro. Nobody is back.
Unless they do, unless they decide to bring back Idris Elba or somebody like that. I have no idea.
Oh, character-wise, yeah, because it's a prequel. It's being pitched as a prequel project here. I don't even know. Yeah, the writer here is Eric Heiser. Oh, sorry, the writer and executive producer is Eric Heiser here under his Chronology banner, right?
Heiser is a good writer. He did Arrival, but.
And Shadow and Bone, which a lot of people enjoyed for that particular thing. Yeah.
Again, this just feels like trying to do a big IP as a series, and it's not going to work. Like, that's not what people want to watch on TV. I don't think.
It seems like an odd thing right after the Bond situation, right? They paid, $1 billion to get Bond and get that massive IP out from under Broccoli and Wilson. And now you're going to go into this stuff to try to revitalize it, and I don't know how much of this 80s IP when they try to do it again, Jeff, really works. It's kind of a law of diminishing return.
Pacific Rim is aimed at like the Fallout crowd, I feel like.
Right.
They show Fallout that's probably going to go a few seasons. What are they going to have after it? So
yeah,
I imagine that's what Pacific Rim is being lined up for. But again, this just was never my cup of tea. I know the first movie did well, but Uprising was like horrendous.
Yeah, it was terrible. A waste of John Boyega in that movie. Maybe there's a possibility that they see. I think Pacific Rim could work more than the Highlander because Pacific Rim is a much more current IP than, say, Highlander is. And so you can mess around with maybe AI or, seeing that kind of stuff. You can explore that as a prequel series. If you get if this guy, Eric Heiser, if he can get like the right cast underneath him, there are possibilities. But I think Highlander is one that is maybe not going to do. And it's confusing because everyone talks about Henry Cavill. The Sneider bros go crazy for Henry Cavill to come back as Superman. And I loved him as Superman. But these choices he's making, Jeff, I don't know if they're safe choices or if these are the only options he has.
Right.
Warhammer, Voltron, Highlander, none of this says movie star. All of this says hiding out in a safe place. I don't know. Am I wrong to read it this way?
No, I mean, I don't love the choices either, but you're right. Are they choices or are they options?
Right.
Like, this is just what he had, what he's being offered these days.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I don't know.
And
That's,
you can get weird and do more genre stuff. Some of like the Dan Stevens stuff, I'd like to see Henry Cavill try out.
Right. But what do you think this signals about Amazon MGM going this direction right after the Bond thing? I know you say you're not a fan of it, but do you think this is? Are they just trying to acquire any kind of IP, throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, or do you think there's a philosophy?
I do think that it's an arms race, right? And IP is what moves the needle, or that is the conventional wisdom, right?
Right.
I don't think that this stuff is like Minecraft, which appeals to a younger generation,
right?
So I think that they just need some new blood in the executive ranks. It wasn't like it's not just people always hold the top of the tree accountable, right? Jennifer Salke. Jennifer Salke's gone. The Wicked Witch is dead, or whatever, and now we've got a new. No, it's the same trunk. New blood here, okay? Because these are bad choices made by executives who seem to be operating from another decade.
Well, since Salke is no longer, do you think Salke was the one that was dragging her feet on these, sensing that this wasn't the right way to go, and now that she's gone, they're going forward with it? Do you think that's a possibility, or no?
No, I don't really think.
Okay. No. All right. Well, we'll see what happens with those.
A lot of properties with Henry Cavill, who is not really like a major movie star.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're going to go streaming, sure. The Witcher, Netflix, that was successful. Maybe if this all is streaming stuff, okay, he'll have some success. But I mean, you're not going to compare that to a movie star, theatrical people making the effort to go see them.
But on the flip side, we can just jump to this story now and tie it in. Is the Ryan Gosling and Killer Klowns? He's not starring in it. He's just producing right now. But that's the kind of old property, 80s property that I think can be reinvented and can be aimed at young audiences, like the same audiences that are going to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, true.
Killer Klowns. I mean, it may not mean as much to them, but I think that appeals to younger people more than the Highlander or Pacific Rim, and it can be done cheaper.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the Kyoto brothers say they've been trying to do this since the 1980s. They've been trying to get a sequel or something going on. You wrote about this, Jeff. You broke this story. Why did this attract Ryan Gosling? What's the point of doing this now as an executive producer? Is it something he fell in love with as a kid? Like, why is he doing this, and why does he sense this is the right time to kind of bring this thing back?
I imagine he did like it as a kid. I mean, I think we're roughly the same age. He may have a few years on me, Gosling.
Right.
I'm not even sure about that, but Gosling's a weirdo. Did you see the movie he directed, Lost River? Did you listen to the band that he was in that utilizes the children's choir and everything? Like, he's a dark dude. And so I'm not surprised that he had some sort of affinity for Killer Klowns. He's been talking about it in various meetings that he's had around town.
Right.
I'm excited about it. And I think this is a cool one for Amazon to dig into the MGM vault and resurrect this title.
Right. Okay. All right. And what do you anticipate we'll see from it? Like, do you think it'll be a sequel? Will it be a prequel? Will it be a series? What do you think we'll get from it?
I think it'll be a complete remake. I can't imagine. Okay. I doubt that there will be any ties to the original. I mean, I suppose there could be. They could go back to the same town and be like, 30 years ago, this town was invaded by killer clowns from outer space, and nobody believed us. It could be something like that. But I mean, there's no cast worth bringing back, even in like a wink, wink. Nobody knows who they are. And I don't anticipate Gosling, being in it unless he decides to do a day in a clown costume.
Yeah, like a cameo. Yeah. Wasn't Clooney a big fan? No, that's the Tomatoes one. He was a big fan of the Tomatoes movie. That's right.
He's in it.
Well, I mean, yeah, because is there anybody? I'm just looking at the cast. I mean, some of them are still working. Suzanne Sneider. Sadly, John Byrne.
As a producer, Gosling it can't just be movies that Gosling is going to be in. And if you looked at the deal when it was announced, he's making movies for both theatrical and streaming. Like, they do need some streaming only titles.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's what this will be. Who knows?
Right.
They're going to have to decide if they want to commit to like a theatrical marketing campaign for this.
Right.
I think it's an interesting piece of material given the way horror has been performing.
And there was a video game last year where some of the cast came back to voice over their characters for Killer Klowns. So clearly there's still an appetite for this kind of stuff. So, but will he go the small director, the unknown actors route, or will he maybe rope in some of his friends to be a part of this? What do you think the approach would be here, Jeff?
I think you find someone who can do horror comedy.
Yeah.
I don't know who that would be. Maybe it's the new Final Destination guys. Maybe you bring in Radio Silence. I'm not sure, but I think there's a lot of interesting ways to go.
Yeah, Radio Silence would be interesting. I kind of like having already done Scream. That could be interesting as well. Well, we're not done with nostalgia IP, Jeff. There's another story that broke just a few hours ago, and that is Clueless. That's right, a Clueless TV series with Alicia Silverstone, who is attached to star and executive produce, has landed at Peacock for development. It's being written and executive produced by the Gossip Girl duo of Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, A Fake Empire, and Dollface creator Jordan Weiss, with Amy Heckerling and producer Robert Lawrence from the 1995 movie EPing as well. Obviously, Alicia is set to reprise her signature role as Cher in the sequel series. 6 years ago, the studio developed a different Clueless series reboot centered around Stacey Dash's Dion character, which went to development but never moved forward. And there was a 3-season series about Clueless that was done. So is there a clamoring for this? I get that we all want to, bring back actresses that were kind of middling from the 90s and 80s and give them a chance again. But I don't know, man. This seems like it doesn't make sense to me. Do you think there is a market for Clueless?
It doesn't make sense to you because you're a little outside the range. You're a little too old for it, Johnny.
Probably true.
You were probably like in the military doing push-ups when this movie came out. Clueless is one of the great high school movies. So I love it. And in fact, she was like my first celebrity crush. If I go back to 7th grade and all my folders and binders, they all say JS plus AS on them. I was in love with them. I have seen, as a teenager, I watched the movies like True Crime with Kevin Dillon, The Babysitter. I mean, I saw everything from Alicia Silverstone growing up.
Crush, right? The Crush, the one with
I was telling someone that they should be a filmmaker that they should be remaking that title and trying to get the rights from Morgan Creek, which are just sitting there. But anyways, they were developing that Stacey Dash remake, a series a while back, and it was like, well, that's settling. That's when you don't go forward with Clueless, because what is the point? You're just trying to use the name Clueless. No one cares about a Dion series. This is a movie there, and I think it only works if you bring her back. I think if you look at what's happening with Freaky Friday and Freakier Friday, I think Freakier Friday is going to perform really well in August. And that's what you have to do here is you have to give Alicia Silverstone a teenage daughter who's going through high school, and Alicia's trying to teach her to be cool, and maybe it's just totally futile. Maybe she's nothing like her mother. I think that's sort of what they should do. I don't know if that's what they are doing.
Yeah. Well, let's tell the truth, Jeff. I know you don't want to tell the truth, but I'm going to tell the truth. I mean, she's not that good of an actress. We're going to put her in a series and bring her back. I hope they put it with actors who are much better than she was. She had one good movie, one really legitimately good performance, and that was Clueless. I'm right, don't lie.
No one's saying she's Meryl Streep, but if you're just saying, hey, she was in Clueless, who cares how she is outside Clueless? We're talking about Clueless.
Brittany Murphy outacted her in Clueless, for God's sake, because that was a real actress. This is someone who can. I mean, I watched. What's the one? The Y2K film, right? The Kyle Mooney. I did that in one interview. Like, she is okay in that movie, and so there's just like there hasn't been this great performances. So
she's worked with Yorgos a couple of times.
Yeah, but is she the lead in those movies? No, and so there's a lead for that. There's a reason.
This is also a Peacock series. Okay, don't tell me that everyone in a Peacock series is necessarily a better actress. So. I think this is a good move. I mean, shit, if they get a cameo from Paul Rudd or him back to guest star for one episode.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's a lot of different people. Don Faison is ready. Okay.
When are we gonna be done with this though, Jeff? I mean, we've had what? What did we just have? There were a lot of these TV series. There was a Saved by the Bell remake.
Was totally ignored.
Which one?
Cruel Intentions got a movie, and that was
that's right.
A series, and it was totally ignored.
Yeah. Are we hitting the point? Are we hitting the past the red mark where it's just too much already? Frasier got canceled after 2 seasons. Like, are we done with 90s IP?
I think no. I definitely don't think we are. I think we're only just beginning.
God help us all.
A big part of it is the cast. I mean, that's why a big reason why I couldn't stand the Scream movies. Those casts, that core four, did nothing for me. I mean, you look back in the casts of Scream, of Dazed and Confused. I mean, just come on. Everybody was perfect. It's not that everybody went on to be a huge star. It's not that Skeet Ulrich ever did become the next Johnny Depp, but he was perfect for his role, and I just don't see a lot of that in this generation. No offense.
No, it's just fair. I mean, Ted seemed to do well as a reboot series on Peacock. So, I mean, maybe if they get as you said, if they get the right cast, they get the right people involved, maybe it could work. But I mean, we just come off of Adolescence at Netflix. What are we getting here? How are they going to detail or portray the teenage experience? How authentically are they going to portray it in this construct? And I mean, Emma, it was based on the Emma novel. So are they going clearly off of the novel, but where are they going to explore? What are they going to do more with this? I don't know. It just doesn't seem to excite me. Maybe I'm out of the window, as you said, but also, you know, it was fine for what it was.
I will watch it only because Alicia Silverstone is back, and that's why they had to bring it back.
I guess. Like Kat says, Jeff in a robe. Is it my birthday? Hello. All right, Kate Von D. Calm it down over there, Kate Von D. Calm it down.
You're sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, she is going to be. You'll get to see more of Alicia Silverstone. She's about to be in a TV series on Acorn. It's a British series, Irish Blood. So interesting to see that.
I'll be watching Acorn TV to see that series.
Hey, I have Acorn TV, and it's interesting to see how they're bringing some of these American actors into these British series. It's kind of interesting. She will also be seen in the indie Pretty Thing and Yorgos Lanthimos' Begonia, as you said, Jeff, and the Netflix holiday movie Merry Little Xmas, because of course she's going to be in a Christmas movie.
Hopefully she'll do a British accent in that Acorn series.
God help us all. God help us all. Well, speaking of female leads, but this one who can really act, let's talk about your story here, Jeff. Mikey Madison, you broke this on the Christian Harloff show on Wednesday, just yesterday morning, and you said that she had received an offer to be in the Sean Levy Star Wars film. Other people speculated that it was to be the lead female villain of the piece. She could have also been playing one of the couple there that is involved in the movie as well, but she was offered the role and then eventually turned it down. So she is not going to be in Sean Levy's Star Wars film. So what are your thoughts on this? And what were your feelings what were your thoughts when the reaction happened or the rejection happened here from Mikey Madison?
Yeah, I mean, definitely didn't see it coming, obviously. While I did only report that she had the offer, I only reported that because I thought she would take it. If I didn't think she would take it, I wouldn't have reported it, most likely. Right. So I reported because I thought she would accept. And as it turns out, I'd held the story for a couple of days. Not that it would have mattered if I dropped it 2 days later and then, 2 days before, and then, yesterday they denied it. Either way. It's just with like the back-to-back, like the slingshot where everyone like had this hope that she was going to be in it, and then Variety, crushed those dreams so quickly. But, I mean, that's the nature of the game, right? Yeah. When I'm reporting on an offer, I can't control whether she likes the script or whether she's being offered enough money or what her schedule looks like. Like, these are all things that are outside of my purview. All I can say is that for a movie like this, when the offer goes out, it's worth reporting, I felt. Now, I did a follow-up story last night.
Yes.
A fraction of as many people read, naturally. But it came down to money. It wasn't about the size of the role, because everyone's like, well, she doesn't want to be a part of Star Wars, and she doesn't, the role's not big enough or whatever. To me, this was about money. And that if they had offered more money, she would have done it. Right. But they decided to hold the line because it's not the lead. And they don't think that she is the sort of movie star who's going to move the needle one way or the other. Yeah. Even with a best actress. So win. And obviously she's been looking for a payday. I can tell you that much after getting that win. Like she's looking to capitalize on that success. You're only going to be in this position once, if you're lucky, twice. Right? Coming to an Oscar win, you want to choose carefully while at the same time making sure that you get paid. And I think she just wanted to be paid like a lead, and they were like, nah, that's not what we had in mind.
What? That's insane. I mean, she just won the Oscar. This is when you traded in everyone knows this in Hollywood. Once you win that Oscar, you can kind of set your quotes, and there has to be a little bit of respect for that. So I'm surprised that Star Wars. Well, I'm surprised that Star Wars wouldn't match the quote, but I'm not necessarily surprised that Disney went that route, because we were talking about that with Fantastic 4 months ago. How like Adam Driver was asking for a certain amount and Margot Robbie was asking for a certain amount, but they clearly weren't going to pay that amount for them to be part of Marvel. And maybe this is the same kind of situation. This is a low budget approach to Star Wars, and low in comparison to other budgets. And maybe they felt what she was asking for was too far out of what they had kind of estimated for the budget overall.
I mean, you know, I see people in the chat saying can't be said to turn down to because of toxic fandom. I had a source trying to feed me that line, and I've just, I'll be honest, I've grown a little skeptical of this source. I you know, a lot of the stuff hasn't necessarily panned out, or I wonder if it's the same person trying to feed John and I.
Right.
I mean, it's not to say that that's like a completely like ridiculous idea, because Star Wars fandom has grown toxic, and you do look what happened to Kelly Marie Tran or you know, some of these other women who have been a part of the franchise. But like, I don't really think that that's because they did Star Wars, right? Like,
yeah.
It has women in the series.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like Daisy Ridley was seen as, this was not going to be like with the Daisy Ridley situation. She was the lead of a new trilogy, and a lot of fans, both male and female, by the way, they always blame the bros, but the sisses have some issue too. Didn't like that a female lead was the lead of a sequel trilogy. They got upset about that. In this movie, she would not be the lead. It'd be the 15-year-old boy that you were speculating. So I think this is a much more safer bet to have taken if she wanted to take it. I don't think the toxic fandom had anything to do with it. She's not a woman of color. She's a white woman. And so
that's the other thing, right?
I don't think the toxicity would have been an issue at all.
Exactly. I think a lot of the toxicity that Kelly faced, that Amanda Stenberg faced, right, that does unfortunately have to come from races. And, you know, maybe that's a privilege. I don't think that that's what Mikey was going to have to put up with here.
No.
Star Wars fans accepted Carrie Fisher.
Right.
So while it may be a concern, every IP has its own toxicity, you know, a segment of the fan base. Right. I think like everything else in this town, how long do I have to beat this into the ground, John? Like everything else in this town, what does it come down to?
Money. Everything. Money. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So no surprise. But yeah, it's a shame. It would have been nice. I mean, especially with all the other names they're kicking around, because we still just only have Gosling. We've heard Plemons, we've heard Jodie Comer, we've heard Mikey Madison, but none of those have been locked down. And clearly Mikey has passed. And I hear you. So if you're an executive producer and you're looking to, you know, get an Oscar-winning actress to be in your project, you better ready to be pony up. You better get ready to pony up. And it seems like maybe Marvel or DC might be her next stop. I won't be surprised, you know. Or do you think she'll go back to the Indies? What do you think she'll do, Jeff?
I don't know. I mean, it's not like Marvel has a reputation for paying its talent super well, unless it's Robert Downey Jr., right? They've always been known to be a little cheap, because it's like, hey, when you're in one of our movies, when you're out of it, right? And once you've been in the MCU, then you have everyone around the world knows who you are, because they saw them immediately, did a whole global marketing campaign. And now you can go get paid. Now you can go top line indies for millions of dollars. So, you know, I think that will surely be a temptation. But I don't necessarily know if that is what she is going to do. Obviously, I would have thought that she was going to say yes to Star Wars. So clearly, she surprised me. Yeah.
Fair point. All right, so we'll see what happens with that. Let's move on to some trailers here, Jeff. What do you think? Did you get to see the new Fantastic Four trailer, The First Steps? This one had a lot more action. We got to see the Silver Surfer. We got to see Galactus walking through their version of New York, possibly, or a big city there. More with Reed. We got to actually see him stretch. More with Sue. More of the story going on here. She's pregnant. Did you get a chance to see this trailer? Any thoughts about this trailer?
Yeah, I thought it was a much better trailer than the teaser. Yeah, and I said that in my CinemaCon coverage. I thought it was cool to see Silver Surfer. They didn't rely so much on the cooking that the teaser did.
Yeah.
With the bear stuff and the thing. So, I've heard good things about this movie. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to Thunderbolts. I think that could be fun. I don't care, if it's supposed to perform twice as well for a movie in that slot. Every movie has its own expectations, and I think Thunderbolts is going to probably meet its.
Yeah, I mean, the new trailer that dropped was fantastic. I thought I did a reaction for it a couple of days ago. There was much more emotion in that trailer, much more a concept about second chances. I mean, the scenes between Florence Pugh and David Harbour were incredible in talking about, I've made so many mistakes. And he's like, when I see, I don't see those mistakes. And then her walking into that darkness of the void at the end. This one, if they nail this, Jeff, I think this one can be a sleeper hit. I know what the prediction for it is, but we've seen already with something like Minecraft movie, what it tracks at may not necessarily be what it brings. A lot of people are thinking The Sinners 40 to 45 million is an under prediction, that it might be much more than 40 to 45. So this could be another situation where people aren't necessarily sure about it, but word of mouth reviews once this starts dropping, and they're doing a free screening of it on the 22nd of April, just a few days away in like 10, 12 major cities. I can't imagine they would do a free screening if they weren't confident that they had a good product on their hands. So I think this
bad word of mouth out of that screening could like tank the weekend.
Yes,
a lot of people probably reserve their tickets.
Right.
Again, I think Sinners is going to do 50 plus.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Having seen it, I agree with you on that.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second, because your reaction was something else.
Yeah, it was honest. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about it. And I think Thunderbolts is going to open to like 75, 80.
That would be amazing. Well, yeah, I guess that would be great for that. 75 to 80, considering it's not a part of the overall MCU storyline and how it's being built up through Avengers and Doom and Secret Wars. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see with that. Now, what about this other trailer, Jeff? This one dropped last night at midnight. I stayed up till midnight to do my reaction, which is up on the channel. What did you think of the new trailer? It seemed like it was a little less scary, a little bit dialed back, although there were some pretty unsettling images. It seemed it was much more focusing on the illusion of the story with the characters and what's going on there. What'd you think?
I thought it looked like, it just makes it look big. Like Sony went all in on this. It looks kind of epic. I think it's going to be super cool. I don't think it was as effective as the teaser, but to me, the teaser is probably the single best piece of marketing we've seen all year.
I agree.
From any studio. So that set a high bar. I'm glad that they went back to the boots thing, but it just wasn't quite as effective. But again, I think this sets up the fact that this is not just one movie, but like a new trilogy. And I think it's going to do very well this summer. Although F1, I keep hearing, is like excellent, like best picture level, great. And that's going to be quite a showdown. I think F1 comes out maybe the week after it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good as well. And, he's not going to be directing the next one. It's going to be the lady who did Marvels and did I'm blanking. What's her name, Jeff? I'm sorry. What's the director's name? Who's taking over the second one?
Nia DaCosta.
Nia DaCosta. That's right. Who did Candyman, the Candyman remake. So yeah, she will
Don't
be
say
taking.
it. Whoa! Don't say it any more times, bro.
Did you see any bees in here? I don't see any bees.
You are there, okay? I lose you.
Let's move on to this other story. Sam Neill. What do you think of this? I don't have a picture for this, but Sam Neill of the Jurassic Park franchise is joining the MonsterVerse film from Legendary here. He'll be in the new Godzilla X Kong 3. No word on the role he'll tackle. He's going to join the cast with Caitlin Dever, Jack O'Connell, Delroy Lindo, Matthew Modine, and Dan Stevens, reprising his role from the last film as veterinarian Trapper Beasley. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you like this idea? Do you like that he's joining the cast? Is this a crossover situation? Will he be playing the same character? What do you think of this? Like, why would you bring Sam Neill in, who's known for being in another film about large creatures? Why would you bring him?
Just turning into a MonsterVerse movie anyways. If you've, like the Jurassic World Rebirth looks like a monster movie, not a dinosaur movie.
Right.
Good. I mean, good for Sam Neill for getting that paper. These movies are not good. And the human cast is just atrocious in these movies.
Yeah.
Totally thankless. Like, if you could like anything in these movies, it's obviously related to the action between Kong and Godzilla. Who gets a compliment as a human being in these movies?
That's true. That's true.
Dan Stevens, he was okay in the last one. What if Samuel was playing his father? I'd like that.
Oh, Dan Stevens' father? That's a great idea.
But yeah, I could see that.
Oh, I could totally see that. I love that idea, actually. That could work really, like the guy who
evil, company owner, right?
Yeah. Oh, maybe that. Yeah, but the guy who like maybe trained him to be who he is, and now, he's I don't know, doing what he's doing there, and like probably gives him shit because I mean he was such a swaggering part of the last one. It would be funny to see him now battle with somebody who's kind of taking the pit, kind of a Last Crusade, Indiana Jones type of situation. Because I don't think Rebecca Hall is coming back for this one. She's not listed in the cast. So, Caitlin Dever taking the female lead role in this clearly. So, yeah, someone to give Dan a little bit of shit would be fun. But you're probably right. He's probably playing the villain of the piece or whatever. But it could be fun to see him as his dad. But, I mean, are you excited about this? Does this work for Kate? Do you think this makes sense for Caitlin Dever, though? Do you think this... I mean, I guess money-wise, it makes sense.
Cast. They have like a really good cast, John, right? Yeah. Delroy Lindo is in this.
Yeah, both guys from Sinners, Jack O'Connell and Delroy Lindo. Yeah,
Matt Modine. They've got a cool cast here, but at the same time, I know it's going to be in service of a crap story. Just cares about going like this with monsters and Godzilla and comics. Who cares?
All right, fair point.
You'd have to be insane to be excited for this movie.
People are, though, man. People like these movies. I thought the last one was fun. The one before that was a bit kind of tedious, but this one, the last one was much more fun than that one. So, yeah.
The only thing that excites me is that Adam Wingard escaped this franchise.
He did. It seemed pretty good.
Got out of there.
Well, let me ask you about this, man. This is a weird story. I want to get your thoughts on this one. And it is this World of Real was reporting this, talking about Dwayne Johnson and the Martin Scorsese film. We know that it's a go, but it appears that Dwayne Johnson is set to co-write the Martin Scorsese upcoming Hawaiian crime epic, which will star him, The Rock, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Emily Blunt in the new lead roles. He is co-writing the screenplay with Vanity Fair journalist Nick Bilton. The two are also collaborating on a nonfiction book about the Hawaii crime syndicate that operated in the 60s and the 70s, which the film will adapt. The organization known as The Company was led by Wilford Nappy Pulawa, the first and only Hawaiian mob boss in history. So interesting that The Rock is co-writing this, Jeff. I mean, is it really going to be Nick Bilton doing all of the writing and The Rock comes in to get some of the details correct? Like, what do you think is going on here, man?
John, look at my face. Look at my eyes.
All right, I'm looking right now.
This movie's never happening.
What? You think it's never happening?
Never.
Come on. It's The Rock, Scorsese, DiCaprio.
I don't even need to give it much brain power or spend any energy thinking about it because I know this isn't real. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble. Sorry to let Dwayne know like this, but this movie will never, ever be made.
That can't be true. I don't believe you. I have to say I'm on the other side. I want to see what happens. I just feel there's too much star power for them to let this one die. Emily Blunt as well. It just seems... Plus, you've got a Vanity Fair co-writer on the script. I mean, it just seems like all of this is set up for it to happen.
With all the projects that Martin Scorsese has in development right now, you think he's going to go make a Hawaiian crime drama with The Rock? That's how he wants to spend his potential last movie? He could die on the set. He could die on the set. You think that's what he wants to do?
Hey, guys, I think something's wrong. Not just him. I mean, it's him and DiCaprio together. Come on, it's not just The Rock. He's not going off to do a Rock vehicle for Peacock. This is him and DiCaprio together. I think
I will eat a rock if this movie gets.
Whoa! Wow! All right,
I will eat a small-sized rock.
Yeah, I just wonder if someone said in the chat before I could say it, but there's is this The Rock's kind of roundabout way of trying to get an Oscar? If this gets nominated for best screenplay or whatever, The Rock can say, I'm Oscar nominated or whatever. I wonder That's the approach. So
the Hawaiian crime drama from Netflix being Oscar nominated for best adapted screenplay. I don't even know what it would be. Yeah, we don't need to talk about this anymore.
Okay. Do you want to talk about somebody else involved in the cast?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You read my mind, John. What a good segue. Leonardo DiCaprio. Speaking of him and Netflix, I told you, the day that Cliff Booth story broke on the playlist, that Leonardo DiCaprio was in negotiations, and then all the trades were skeptical about it working out and all that stuff. And I told you literally that he was dragging his feet, and it was annoying. It was annoying. Netflix, Fincher, Pitt. It was like, come on, like you're really not going to say no to this? Like, what do we got to do to get this done? So I'm told that the initial offer. Again, keep in mind, how much does Leo get paid per movie, John?
20 to 25 million.
That's, I think, exactly right. Okay. And a movie takes months to shoot.
Yeah, takes months. Possible.
I'm told that DiCaprio was offered $3 million for 1 day of shooting. 1 day, $3 million.
That rivals Brando, what he made for the Superman movie for just a few seconds on screen. Wow. $3 million for the day. 1 day.
And he's dragging his feet.
Wow.
Well, I think by the end of it, because I do think that this will happen and I do think it'll work out, but I think at the end of the day, that day is going to cost Netflix $4 million.
Wow. If I was DiCaprio, I'd hold out for 5. 5's a good, nice round number. At 5, everything should be in 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. So 5 million. If I was DiCaprio,
put it at 4 for a day.
I mean, Netflix can afford it. They're out here crowing about their Q1 numbers and subscribers. They overperformed. Bitch, you can slide me an extra 2 million. Ted Sarandos, come on now. You can slide me 5. If I was his agent, that was DiCaprio agent, I would laugh at anybody at Netflix calling me, offering me less than 5.
It's a precedent thing. It's like you don't want to set the precedent.
Yeah, I guess.
And I can see we're absolutely not spending $5 million for a day of Leo. But if they were going to go to 3, I could see Leo's team getting Netflix up to 4.
Wow, $4 million for 1 day. And you better get all the shots in 1 day. You better shoot it all because they're not going to pay you $4 million. Netflix is not going to approve you going another day extra with. It just seems that why do you think he'd be why wouldn't he do it for 100? Like, what does it matter to him? It's 1 day. It's not that big of a deal. This is a Brad Pitt vehicle. Do you think it's a little bit like, well, you got the Oscar, I didn't, or do you think it's really legitimately about money? Like at this point, Leonardo has more than he could possibly fucking spend. So why would he?
Because Leo gets paid. That is what he does, right? Okay. He is not like Brad Pitt, who will show up in Deadpool 2, right?
Right.
That's
they barely seen.
Yeah, that's not what Leo does.
That's true.
That's not what Denzel does.
Right. Yeah. When you're a movie star, you're a movie star.
Denzel are honestly they're built differently. It's literally fuck you, pay me.
Jeff, you and I have worked with people like that. We know that situation. So yes, absolutely. So, all right. So we'll see. So you think it's going to happen, but it'll be more than 3. That's what you think.
Yes. I can't imagine him walking away and leaving those 2 guys hanging. So,
I mean, Bloodhound makes sense. Leo gets paid. Those 20-year-old models aren't cheap to date. I imagine they're not. Senior Nerd, we both know they have Oscars. That wasn't the point. He didn't win the Oscar for that movie. That was my point.
And just to tease it, so tomorrow, I know I was promising Star Wars scoops.
I know you were.
And I have a bunch.
Okay.
They're going to wait until after Celebration.
Okay. But is there anything...
I got to be respectful, especially after that fucking Mikey Madison fiasco.
Okay, and that's fair. And I totally understand it, of course. But do any of these have to do with Celebration at all? Like, you're not going to break this after it's already been announced, right?
No. What do you mean? Then they've already been announced. And
what I'm saying, are you taking a chance?
Things that I have are not going to be discussed at
Celebration. That's what I'm getting at. Are the things that you do? You know,
they are going to be fresh. And
okay.
I just got to wait for people to get back. You can't have a conversation,
right?
They're in Tokyo, and there's a 16-hour difference, and it's like the complete opposite. So
it
wouldn't be right for me to do these stories without being able to talk. I got to wait till they get back, and I have a chance to talk to Lucasfilm and everything.
Tokyo's ahead, right?
Even though I'm sure every story that I file would say, Lucasfilm could not be reached for comment. I mean,
Tokyo is ahead, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like already Friday. It's almost Saturday there. Like we're living in the future in Tokyo. All right.
Right now, it's 8:46 a.m. in Tokyo.
The
right
point
now.
is like if I could have gotten a hold of someone before the Harloff show, right?
Right, of course.
Or gotten a hold of Mikey's team, right? That story doesn't come out, unless it's literally like she passed right after.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I think it probably was like right before.
Right.
But yeah, just tough circumstances. Because obviously, if someone had said, "Yeah, we did offer it, but it didn't work out," I'd be like, "Okay," and then that would be that.
Right.
This is it's a little humiliating. I would say.
No, because I mean, the trades picked it up. They verified, or the Variety said,
"No, it's not humiliating for me." I'm saying it's humiliating
okay.
for Lucasfilm a little because she passed quickly, Right. And I'm not trying to humiliate anybody, it was just, again, a matter of not being able to reach anybody. But the point that I'm getting at is that while I won't have Star Wars news tomorrow, I will have a very interesting scoop about not the best actor in the world, Leonardo DiCaprio, which is what we're talking about a second ago, but I would say possibly the most liked movie star.
Oh, nice.
America's favorite movie star. And I think I'll have something pretty interesting on him tomorrow.
Is that Tommy Hanks? Am I guessing Tommy Hanks?
I'm not going to say who it is.
Dignify it with a response? Okay.
No, I don't. I think that's America's like sweetheart. I don't think he's America's like favorite movie star. I'm talking about a guy who nobody has a bad word to say about the man I'm going to be writing about tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, it can't be Ryan Reynolds. All right, so yeah, Tokyo time right now is 8:47 in the morning, or 8:48 in the morning on Friday. So we are 2 hours and 12 minutes away from the first panel at Celebration starting. So there probably will be news tonight, maybe a Mando and Grogu trailer tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning. But what are your thoughts on do you think there'll be anything surprising come out of Celebration? This has been the most, did you know Celebration was even happening type of approach this week. A lot of Star Wars people who have YouTube who aren't flying to Tokyo had no idea it was even happening this week or don't expect much. Do you think we'll get any big news coming out that will surprise us from Celebration?
I don't know if I'd say big news.
Okay.
I think you'll get a title for Mangold's movie.
Ooh, okay.
Does that have a title?
No, there's some working title
of the Jedi. No, or
it's a working title, but it's not an official title.
Okay, I think that I don't know what it is. I'm in the dark there, so but I do think you'll get an official title for that one.
Nice. Okay. Well, at this point, we're about 48 minutes into the show. I just want to remind you all, Super Chats, Streamlabs are open. We got 19 Super Chats. Come on, people. Let's get up to 40 or 50, for God's sakes, and send in your Streamlabs as well. This is a great way to support the show. So send them in, Streamlabs Super Chats. You guys always have questions you want to ask us. Send them in now as we go along. Let's move on to this Glen Powell story, because apparently this son of a bitch moved out of L.A. and he's working even more than when he was living in L.A. This comedy is happening here with him and Judd Apatow. This is a bit surprising here, Jeff, with him. I mean, this is a situation where he is going into business with Judd Apatow and doing a comedy. Does this surprise you at all that this is happening? Is this something you anticipated or expected to see? Because he is writing the script with Apatow, and it's about a country western star in freefall, and it's being fast-tracked at Universal, where, of course, he had made so much money with Twisters. So you were talking about the need for comedies. He did do the Netflix one, which was funny, but is this maybe the beginning of the return, or is this a bit of a one-off? What do you think on this, of comedies?
I mean, is this an elevated sort of prestige comedy like a Hitman, or is this like a crass Apatow comedy?
Oh, right.
I mean, like, and not that Apatow can't make heartfelt prestige comedies as well, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Like, is this like another super bad R-rated raunch fest, So I don't know what the tone of that is. I don't, Glen doesn't really strike me as that kind of writer.
Right. Or is it a 40-year-old virgin, which is a much more, heartwarming type of comedy with a little bit of raunch?
I think it's him embracing who he is, which is like middle America's movie star. Like he's embracing the Southern boy in him, playing a fallen country star. Maybe he really wants to sing, and hasn't been offered musicals and stuff around town. He'd be great as in like Guys and Dolls.
No? Playing which one? Playing which character?
You think I've seen Guys and Dolls?
I mean, you're mentioning it. You better don't mention a musical if you haven't seen it, pal. You don't know what you're talking about.
That kind of musical.
Is he Sky Masterson or is he the other guy? I mean, you got to know.
Nathan Detroit.
Nathan Detroit, right? Exactly. That's the Frank Sinatra role, and it was Brando doing Sky Masterson. So
but I think it's cool. I do really like the idea of him teaming up with Apatow and helping Apatow get his mojo back. Like he is one of this town's biggest movie stars right now, and Apatow could use a hand.
I don't disagree with you, bro. I don't disagree with you. It would be nice to see Apatow get, but I mean, he's doing so many things right now, Glen Powell, right? I mean, people were talking about oversaturation. I mean, he's about to get to that point here, Jeff. I think a little bit. You got Running Man coming out. He's working on this Chad Powers Hulu show. He's got another film with J.J. Abrams. He's got A24's Huntington. So it's a lot of stuff. Is he running the risk of getting a bit oversaturated as the new flavor of the month?
I think he has to be careful of doing too many like remakes and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the JJ movie turns out to be.
Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, and Apatow produced Bros, and I thought that was an excellent comedy, and it didn't do that well.
Bros was not just an excellent comedy; it's one of the best movies that came out that year. It's probably the funniest movie that's come out in the last few years, and you're right; it was totally ignored. But that's I think we all know why that was.
Yeah, true, exactly. Yeah, good point. I also enjoyed King of Staten Island. I thought that was a really good use of Pete Davidson. He produced that as well, so he's still doing his thing. I just don't think he's doing it to the level where the mainstream audiences are gravitating strongly, and as they did in the past, to what he's producing and putting out there. So teaming with a current guy who is everybody is looking at, like Glen Powell, could, as you said, help to get his mojo back, get him back on the mainstream.
And this is different than the other stuff that Glen is attached to do.
Yeah.
I like that about it.
Yeah, it feels like Glen is in this moment like, hey, whatever you wanted to ever play, you now can actually try and do it as an actor. So here's the opportunity. So we'll see how it all turns out when it's said and done. Let's see, what else have we got here on the. Oh yeah, what do you think, Jeff? Real quick, they finally announced officially confirmed the cast here for most of the main actors for the Harry Potter. Well, most of the main teachers in the Harry Potter series. We have Papa Esidu as Snape. You've got Janet McTeer as Minerva. Lithgow is absolutely playing Dumbledore here, and then these three other actors playing the other roles here, Filch and other places. So your thoughts on this? Anything more to add now that it's officially been announced already? The YouTube is churning out their videos over Papa Esidu playing Snape and how that's going to be, and James Potter is bullying a black kid, and all of this stuff they're bringing up rather than just looking at it as he was the best actor for the role. So anything to say on any of this?
The more time goes by, the more I think this is probably a bad bet for HBO, and that is
the series. You think overall it's a bad bet?
It feels like maybe a miscalculation.
Okay, and
I don't know. I mean, are adults really going to watch this? Or like, we have our Harry Potter movies, right? Like,
right.
Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter. Are we really going to accept this all over again? And if it's not for us, and it's for the next generation who deserve their Harry Potter. I mean, are kids watching HBO these days? Like, I just don't. I don't think that this is maybe going to pan out, especially with all the J.K. Rowling stuff, who is totally one of the grossest human beings on the fucking planet.
I agree. And she went after her. She went after her main actors in the film series, and that's just kind of mind blowing that she would do something so petty and stupid. And now you're going to be part of this, and she's not walking away from this franchise. You're going to have to pry it from her cold dead hands. And then, like you said, the drama of all of that, and people are already starting to turn on some of these casting choices. But I mean, Hogwarts Legacy was the biggest selling video game. So the idea of the Harry Potter franchise is still very much in people's minds. They just expanded the park version of it there in Florida to be even bigger with more like the Ministry of Magic involved. So the taste for it is still there. I think it's going to be really interesting on who they choose to be the 3 main kids. And will they be diverse? Will they be all white? And then how are you going to add on to the other actors, other characters? I mean, Nick Frost being Hagrid is great, but who are the other main characters that are going to be part of this thing? Going to be real curious to see how it all plays out. So once the cast is announced, I think it'll be interesting to see.
No, I mean, none of these people really offer any star power. I know John Lithgow is a great actor. Obviously, they don't have to rely on that with an IP of this size, but
yeah.
You know, if our generation will accept this new Harry Potter, or who this is like really for, especially if the stories have already been told.
Yeah. Sorry, Leoletti, got to ban you and kick you out, my guy. If you're talking,
what did he say? I missed it.
He said that J.K. Rowling speaks the truth about all of this stuff, so I'm gonna kick him out on that.
I mean, people are entitled to believe what they want. So, like,
they are, and I'm entitled to kick him off my show. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm not advocating for those folks to be kicked off or banned for their show, but it is your channel. I just think, you know, this is our show, and these are our opinions. You know, if I want to hear your opinions, you know, start a show and send a link to me.
I know. But sometimes people come after you and you want me to kick them off, and all they're doing is bitching about how you're saying stuff. So, you know, we've got our things. We each got our things. So let's see what else have we got here to talk about. Anything you want to jump into? Oh, the Eli Roth situation. Shall we get into this conversation? I know that you're a big fan of his.
I do like Eli personally, but I'm going to be with you 100% on whatever you're about to say. So go on.
All right, so Eli Roth was on Matthew Maloney's The Town podcast, and he was talking about how Borderlands absolutely crashed and burned. He said that he wanted to avoid pointing fingers because, quote, someone's going to look bad. And usually it's just the director. And he's talking about that working on the film was really interesting for him, and that there were issues going on. None of us anticipated how complicated things were going to be with COVID, not just in terms of what we're shooting, but then you have to do pickup shots or reshoots. And you have 6 people that are all on different sets, and every one of those sets is getting shut down because the cities have opened up, and now there's a COVID outbreak. And it was just like, we couldn't prep in a room together. I couldn't be with my stunt people. I couldn't do previs. Everyone sped all over the place. You can't prep a movie on that scale over Zoom. I think we all thought we could pull it off, and we got our asses handed to us a bit. So Eli Roth is not a good director. He's an occasionally decent director, but he's not a good director. So to lay the blame on everything else but him, I think, to me, is a bit ridiculous. And blaming Zoom. Look, Tom Cruise shot an entire Mission Impossible film while everyone's on COVID wearing masks, and he's yelling at people to wear masks. So to me, I think this is a little bit excuses. Don't blame me, excuses. When really, he's not known for making great fucking movies. And, you know, Borderlands, you wasted a lot of talent on that film.
Borderlands is, first of all, I mean, it's not on Eli Roth that the movie costs as much as it did, right? That's
agreed.
Lionsgate's decision to spend as much money as they are. It's Lionsgate's decision to hire Eli Roth in the first place, which was, you know, a bad hire. Like, the movie is outside of his wheelhouse. Not only does he not, like, he has this fan base of horror fans, you know, they're not video game fan. I don't understand. Like, if you're going to spend big money to hire Eli Roth and bring him into, you know, make sure it's a horror movie. Yeah. This is outside of his wheelhouse. He'd never worked with a budget of this size. I'm sure that The House with a Clock in Its Walls was half the size, if not a third of the size of this movie.
Yeah.
I've seen great Zoom movies that are set entirely on Zoom. Right. These are all terrible excuses, but it's also like, what do you expect him to say? Like, hey, this is all my fault. I mean, he, like, you know, they brought in another guy to direct it, obviously, Tim Miller. So, you know, he's not going to accept all the blame, because it's like he said, I sat down and watched this movie and I don't know what I'm even about to see.
Right.
You know, so it's not, you can't give him all the blame, because it's not his movie kind of thing. But at the same time, this movie was fucked no matter what. It didn't matter whether it was shot on one soundstage, 6 sound stages, with COVID, without COVID. It didn't fucking matter. This movie was fucking doomed. It was a bad script. Yeah. You make a good point there, and I can see it a little bit more perspective, in that, like, if he's a limited director, giving him this massive
budget and then throwing in all these obstacles, you just expose the limits of what he can do as a director. Whereas someone like Ridley Scott probably would have been able to navigate this, maybe not turned out a great product, but certainly would have navigated with a bit more. So you understand that when you look at it. So that's fair.
You wouldn't give Kevin Smith $100 million, would you?
No, I would not.
Right. And
not
Kevin Smith, to me, can direct a certain kind of movie very well. But he's not the guy you give $100 million to. And Eli Roth is not the guy who should have $100 million either. Right. Respect to both of them. And I do like both of them personally. But that whole interview, obviously, with Bellany was about the horror section.
Yeah.
It was, first of all, a bad interview. I mean, Bellany, like, Bellany, it's just like, I know he was trying to ask the question. He even did say something interesting. Like, what are my banker friends going to say about this interview when, once they listen to it? I just want to hear, if I'm putting in $100, how much money can I expect to get out?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because what happens is, well, it's an investment. It's an investment. And all this money is going to disappear. It's an investment. And, like investing in the film business, I mean, Eli Roth can't come out and say this, but it's like, it is the single dumbest fucking thing you can do with your money.
Yes, it is so unknown what's going to happen. It's so unknown what's going to happen. And you thinking you're going to get your money back. I mean, you should absolutely be aware that you're going to lose that money. Like,
dude, Eli Roth couldn't answer like half the fucking questions that Bellany posed to him. Yeah. Because a lot of them were about technology and shit like that. But it's like, right. He kept talking about, it was nonsense. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect? It's Eli Roth. Like, I know some people in the section of horror love him, but he's a bro dude. He's not going to know too much. And if you want to get the answers from a guy who can work in those genres, it's Tarantino you're interviewing or Robert Rodriguez. It's not Eli Roth.
Just show the books. Like if we're going to do this, I want a website where literally every expense is logged and we see what this shit costs and then what the returns are. And I want to see every deal point, but that's not what it is. It's just like, here's a little percentage of the company, but we're really going to do everything. I mean, come on. If this was a good idea, someone in Hollywood would have given him the money. He wouldn't be coming. This makes no sense. I'm sorry, Eli. Like, God bless you, dude. Yeah. And it's not a terrible idea to try to crowdsource, even though you're not calling it crowdsourcing, but I wouldn't give this thing a penny.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Let's see if I would. Okay, thoughts on Beetlejuice 3. Jeff, this is happening. No surprise, right? No brainer.
I mean, the second one made a ton of money. I'm not surprised they're coming back. But
DeLuca announced this. Does this mean
was almost unwatchable?
The second one, yes.
It was bad.
It was
bad, and this one won't be any better. But yeah, I mean, they're fighting for their jobs right now, Mike and Pam. So anything that worked, you're getting a sequel, and anything that didn't, that was the other guys.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this Kiss of the Spider Woman, the Jennifer Lopez movie? It's now getting acquired by Lionsgate Roadside Attractions. That does not bode well. There were some mixed reviews coming out of the festivals. I know some people were really glowing about it, but there were much more mixed reviews after it got to more festivals. They're bringing this out in October, thinking this is going to get some Oscar noms. Do you see that in its future at all?
No, this movie, I mean, she would be lucky to maybe get a nomination. She's always on the bubble, actually, with a lot of stuff. I thought she was great in Unstoppable last year. I really thought that's like an underrated movie. Yeah. I like Jennifer Lopez as an actress, but no, I don't see this doing very well, particularly with this climate.
All right, and then Phoebe Waller-Bridge, her Tomb Raider series has been shelved at Amazon. Are you surprised by this at all? I mean, they're acquiring other IP, Jeff, but here they go shutting down a Tomb Raider thing. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, not surprised. I mean, they were going to have, what was her name? The Game of Thrones girl, Sophie Turner?
Yeah, Sophie Turner.
No. Like, one of the executives who sits around the table and you can cast anyone as Tomb Raider, and it's like, I want Sophie Turner. Like, what? How do you have a job here? That's what's so embarrassing about what's going on around town. It's just some of these decisions are mind-boggling.
Hey, I don't disagree with you. But where are we at in the Phoebe Waller-Bridge situation? Like, where are we at, Jeff? Like, is this getting a little
betting on?
I mean, Killing Eve, the last thing she EP'd was 2020. The last season was 2022. She's got something called Octopus that she's EPing, and she's not starring in anything that has made much money. She was destroyed for being in Indiana Jones and what happened. Not that I blame her for that, but like there hasn't been much from her, man. Are we at a place where Phoebe needs a little help, or is she okay right now?
I don't know what you mean by that. I'm sure she's doing very fine financially.
Okay, I mean, like there's no big hit right now, and it's been a few years since she had something that was really something go like, wow, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
If I was an executive, she wouldn't be on any of my lists.
Yeah.
She's going to have to prove herself and maybe do something smaller. I'd maybe go do an indie movie.
Yeah, maybe that tells you right there with that situation.
These indie movies, like, she's not in any of them.
Right. You're like, yeah, she did the rewrites, but what does that matter? It wasn't. No one's like, oh, wow, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, this was amazing rewrites. No one's doing that on No Time to Die. In fact, No Time to Die got some criticism for the way the film was constructed, so it was not necessarily a win overall. I do want to bring this up, Jeff, a melancholy, bittersweet goodbye to Nicky Katt, character actor Nicky Katt, who passed away sadly recently here, 54 years old, I think it was, passed away on April 8th, and took his own life, left a suicide note. A guy who was a part of so many shows and movies like Dazed and Confused, Boston Public, The Limey, Sin City. I remember him, Insomnia, The Way of the Gun, one of my favorite films he was in, Suburbia, School of Rock, just so many things, plus shows like Friends, The King of the Hill, Monk, Law and Order, and just a character actor I've always enjoyed. And, you know, it's just sad when you hear about an actor who's worked a lot, but still is chased by the demons of mental health and ends up taking his life because we've lost a talent who clearly worked a lot and was liked by a lot of directors. So it's a shame. It makes me very sad. So,
yeah, this was definitely sad news. And, you know, again, I don't know if he was battling some sort of physical ailment behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah, they haven't alluded to that, but yeah, maybe.
No, they haven't. But if it was just like money and like, well, I'm not really working a lot and I'm behind on the rent.
Yeah.
I'm going to off myself because I'm depressed about it. That's what's just super sad to me. Because dude, you can't go to Affleck, you did Dazed and Confused and Boiler Room with, or Linklater or McConaughey or some of these guys and be like, hey, can you give me 25, 50 grand, float me for a few months. And I think that's because he was probably a really prideful guy who didn't want to ask for those favors from his more famous friends. And that's the thing. We all need to be comfortable asking for help sometimes.
Right. Yes.
And he just strikes me as that kind of tough guy who maybe suffered in silence and wasn't about to show that vulnerability. And that's a shame because he was a really talented character actor. I obviously loved him in Dazed and Boiler Room, but he was good at a lot of stuff.
Listen, you guys got to know, man, being an actor is really, really tough. And, someone like me who never reached the heights of Nicky Katt or worked with the people that he worked with, from the outside, you're desperate to get to that level that Nicky Katt is in. But you have to know this about every actor. No matter what level they're at, they're always looking at the next level and looking at people who are and wishing they were there. I had a great conversation one time years ago with an actor who was the face of a campaign in multiple commercials, was making six figures. And when I sat down to give him his flowers, he was like, yeah, that's fun and all, but I wish I was the lead of a sitcom. And it's like, you're never satisfied a lot of times as an actor. He was found dead in his Burbank apartment. And, you're living in Burbank, which already shows you the kind of money that you're making, which isn't that much. And so, it's tough. These people we see, we think they're making all this money. We hear about the Hollywood elite, but there's so many great character actors who are living at times paycheck to paycheck because they're waiting for that next big thing to hit. And so it's a shame that if that was the reason, it's a shame, but that's why mental health is difficult, man, because you just never know what's going to trigger it. And when it feels like, okay, it's time to go. And sadly, we've lost Nicky Katt.
Yep.
Another sad loss was Ted Kotcheff, the director of First Blood, the director of Weekend at Bernie's, and of course, executive producer on Law and Order SVU, I think. He brought together Maloney and Hargitay. He was responsible for getting them on that show for 13 seasons. He passed away as well. Really good Canadian director. I love First Blood, and I love Weekend at Bernie's. So sad to see him pass. So, Jeff, let's move on to these reviews and let's get into these questions. What do you want to give me shit about on The Sinners? What's wrong? What's wrong with me liking a movie, Jeff? Is that a crime in 2025?
You jizzed.
Yes, it did.
You jizzed all over it.
Over it.
Now, I'll know Saturday night if your jizzing was merited.
Yeah, because you haven't seen it.
That's right. I haven't.
Right.
But it was really something. You didn't go overboard at all. I mean, it's not just you either, because people are like lining up to call this a masterpiece and the greatest movie ever made. I mean, it's really something.
I'll tell you the truth. I didn't read one person's review before I went in to see the movie. Not one. I saw people's reactions on social media, but they were pretty general, right? But when I went in, I was like, and I went to a theater I didn't want to be at. It was a dangerous area. And I went to see it in IMAX, and I sat there and I was completely transported. And what I saw here, and as a guy who loves and appreciates the construction of movies, as I host a podcast called The Cinephiles, where we do that with classic movies, I saw a guy who was ascending to the next level as a director. And I saw a guy who's not hamstrung by being part of the Rocky franchise or the MCU. He finally has the money to tell the story he wanted to tell. And it was like a young Spike Lee. It was like watching Do the Right Thing. It was like watching something from a young black filmmaker who was finally able to let his voice out. And I thought it was astounding. I think it should be nominated for Best Picture, but we'll see.
I mean, because reading between the lines of even the most ecstatic reviews, it felt to me like, the story and screenplay doesn't necessarily coalesce and land entirely. Do you feel like that's a fair criticism, or you felt like the story, everything worked?
I think everything worked.
Blend of everything worked. Yes.
And I think the transition to when it becomes a vampire movie, because it doesn't start out a vampire movie, which is clear from the trailers, works really well. And Jack O'Connell deserves all the flowers people are giving him, because the transition could have been clunky, could have been awkward or clumsy, or kind of felt like, now it's there, it's becoming a different movie. Jack O'Connell is the guy who massages that transition so well because he's so effective as the villain. And then you've got really good actors in Wunmi Masaku and Delroy Lindo there, and the young kid, I can't remember the young kid's name. He was astounding. Mouse Cat, yeah. He is astounding in the movie. So, yeah.
Okay, I mean, these are big words. I'm excited for it. Don't get me wrong. I've heard really good things. It was just anytime the movie is like, 100% of Rotten Tomatoes, the best reviewed wide release in history, and everyone's just lining up and saying basically the same things about it. You're just like, don't you think it's interesting that you guys got a chance to see it? Don't you does anybody have any self-awareness that because I don't, I didn't see it. David Poland didn't see it. People who are sometimes skeptical about these things, I don't think it's excited to see it, because WB has done away with all media, and that that policy allows them to just curate this list until it's smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you get 100% rating. And what's it based on? 30 or 37 reviews at the time. That's 3 rows of people in a movie theater.
I hear you. I think it's up to 157 critics now, and it's at still 99, 98%. So, I mean, that's a good number. Sometimes
remember when Jeff said test screenings were mixed? Yeah, I do, and they were mixed. Because do you understand that test screening audiences, as raw as they may be, okay, I trust them more than critics, because critics have proven themselves untrustworthy to me. I am more skeptical of my fellow professional colleagues than I am of a guy that they just pull off the street in a mall. Okay. Yeah. And that the critics did that to themselves.
Right. But I think, and I think that's fair. You and I have both been on the same side of this sometimes. And certainly with the Snow White situation, where everybody came out of that early screening was like, this is the greatest live action adaptation ever. And it certainly was not anywhere near that. But again, I went in, I don't owe WB, or I get my screenings through a publicist company. I do not get my screenings directly from the studio. So I go and I give my honest thoughts on it, and I talk about it. No one buys me. No one pays my fucking opinion. And I always tell them, whenever a studio rep reaches out, are you going to see this movie? Are you going to review it? I always say to them, yes, but I'm going to give you my honest review. There'll be nothing you send me is going to make me like the film more or less.
And maybe that is the difference, is that you're getting it from an outside party, whereas I would have to rely on Warner Brothers to invite me. And Warner Brothers, has neither the time nor the inclination to do that. So, and I don't care. Like, I'm going to see it's there. It's not going to cost me any extra money because I have the AMC pass, right?
I think you could get yourself invited if you wanted to, but you don't want to. You want to stay the outsider, and I respect that.
I'm done with that. Like the
I know you are.
stuff. It's like they know I exist. They have my fucking email. They know I haven't seen it yet.
It's true,
right?
It's true.
So, yeah.
But wouldn't you think it'd be weird if they reached out to you? Then you'd feel this obligation. Exactly what you're complaining about would be the same thing that would happen.
What do you mean? I just got invited to the Accountant 2 screening. I sat in the same section with Gavin O'Connor and the whole stunt team.
Wow.
And it was like, this movie is not good.
Oh, no. Really?
Oh, did we not? That's on the rundown, right? Accountant 2?
Yeah, it is. But I didn't know we were switching to it. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you see it? You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. They didn't do any screenings down here, sadly.
Well, it was a public screening, right? It was tax day screening at AMC. I think the studio probably just reserved some rows. I don't even know if like the Gavin and the stunt guys may have just gotten tickets on their own. But they gave me Amazon set aside 2 tickets for me. It's a Warner Brothers co-production, but it's an Amazon title. Right. And the outside company invited me, and I gave it a C last night. It was so disappointing. It's just not a sequel to The Accountant that we all like. That movie was dark. It had Affleck in a dark room with a strobe light beating himself in the legs to heavy metal. And this movie, he's going on speed dates and he's going line dancing in cowboy bars. And anytime like any action is about to happen, they either stop the scene or they'll start it and the action's already happened, right? You meet John Bernthal, just like in the trailer. You see John Bernthal, and then as he's leaving, you see, he killed a whole room full of guys.
That's
cool, but you never see him kill the room full of guys. And it's like the whole movie. I'm telling you, the budget must have been totally different. Even the cast, right? You had Jeffrey Tambor, Gene Smart, John Lithgow, J.K. Simmons, Bernthal. Dude, this is like Affleck, Bernthal, and the scene of J.K. Simmons.
Wow.
It just felt cheap. So I was not a fan. You can tell by the trailers. So the first trailer set to 9 Inch Nails, which is dark. I actually thought it looked pretty damn good based on that first trailer. The second trailer, the movie's nothing like that. The movie is like the second trailer, which is all fucking a buddy comedy with John Bernthal. And look at how weird this autistic guy is. Of course he can't get a date. You know, it's like, it's crazy. I was not a fan of the Accountant sequel. And by the way, speaking of autistic stuff, you should all read Clayton Davis's column in Variety, where he wrote about having an autistic son and dealing with RFK Jr., who's a fucking lunatic. An absolute lunatic. That was one of the best things I've read all week. So hats off to Clayton, and I'm very sorry that we have to live in this country under RFK fucking Jr.
That's insane. I quote tweeted that comments that he made. It's so insulting to people who have autistic children and love their autistic children. Those children did not destroy their families. I mean, he's a pompous ass who's been living off that Kennedy money. He's a privileged Nepo baby, and the things he said were just so fucking offensive. And as you said, it's a shame. We're not going to get political here, but it's a damn shame that you have
nothing to do with it. Whether this guy's Republican, Democrat, he could worship Xenu. I don't give a shit. He's fucking a Looney Tune.
Yeah, he is absolutely Looney Tune. And Cheryl Hines is more than happy to be with this guy. So, please save some hate for her too, for God's sakes.
Cheryl, come over here. I'll give you a peek under the robe, baby.
She's a fame climber. That's what she was. Rode Larry David's coattails to fame. Now she's riding RFK Jr.'s coattails. I mean, why do it on your own, right? Anyway, all right. So any other reviews you want to throw out, Jeff? Anything else that you saw?
I saw The Surfer this morning. I think I'm gonna try to review it in the next newsletter.
Can you give a hint?
It was okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't give you the cage that you all want. I even called a buddy after, and he's like, so does he then go crazy on all the surfers who are giving him shit the whole way? I'm like, no, it's not that kind of movie.
Interesting. Okay.
It was okay. Listen, he's a fascinating actor, even in bad movies.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
But I think that the audience may think they're getting one thing, and they're not quite getting that.
Oh, okay. That's good to know going in, because it does feel like a revenge film, but maybe not. Maybe not another Mandy. Maybe it seems like it's something else from what you're saying. Adam says, do you saw Warzone? Didn't you, Roka? No, I saw Warfare. I did not see War Zones, and Warfare, my review is up on the channel. Have you seen that yet? You saw that already, right, Jeff?
Warfare is probably the best movie I've seen all year.
Till now, till Saturday.
Until Saturday.
All right, let's get to these questions, Jeff, and let's rip through these so we can get on out of here. But thank you to everybody who's sending these. We really appreciate it madly. Miguel Zion says, hey, y'all, off the top, besides the Russo brothers, which I don't even want them to, who are some directors who would you all want to helm the X-Men mutant movies? Any names that are available and not busy? Thanks. I mean, Stahelski would be interesting to do a one-off of. I mean, a Stahelski Wolverine movie, I think, would be interesting for a new Wolverine. What about you, Jeff? Any action directors stick out? Anything like that?
I'm trying to think about it. I mean, I don't want to say no. Yeah, not off the top of my head. I'm sorry, Miguel. Let me think about it. But
yeah. No. I mean, if you can move, I know everyone's clamoring for Coogler to do the Blade movie, but Coogler doing X-Men, that would be exciting as hell. I would love to see that, especially after what we saw in Sinners. But, you know, he probably wants to go on his own for a bit.
I actually think,
yeah,
I'm going to throw this out there. If, and it's a big if, but we haven't gotten an update. If that Evel Knievel movie doesn't go this summer, I think Damien Chazelle could actually be a kind of interesting director for X-Men.
I love that idea. Yeah. You want it to be prestige. Chazelle could get there. You know, I like that. Miguel Zion says, can I get screenwriting advice for today? Thanks. All right. One thing, Jeff, can you tell him anything for $2.79? I don't know what advice you can give him, Jeff.
Be mindful of your page count.
Oh,
you know, like, as someone who used to read scripts, if you get a script, you know, that's 89 pages and you get a script that's 112 pages, which script do you think you're reading first?
That's true. That's true. Right.
Most, if all things are equal, you're probably going to read the shorter one so you can, you know, go to lunch sooner or, you know, whatever it is. So just be mindful of that page count again.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Jay, I would say this, people have a tendency to repeat the ending of lines. Be aware of that as a repeat for your character's dialogues, that they're ending the lines the same way. Every character has its own speech pattern. Jay Blink says, another year of Adam Sandler in a drama or dramedy, another year of talking about awards potential for him. Read a new report about that with Noah Baumbach's Jay Kelly. Have you heard anything in Sneider about this movie?
I mean, I heard it came out good. I don't know if Adam Sandler can just wake up and not be like a total goofball, and people are like, we got to give this guy an Oscar. Holy shit, he's not the dumbass Adam Sandler banging a shampoo and conditioner bottle together. He must be acting, and he's acting his ass off. I'm sure he's good. He was good in Meyerowitz Stories, obviously great in Uncut Gems. Possible supporting actor, maybe, but we'll have to wait and see what the field is before I go out on that limb.
Yeah, World of Real pushed this out there because some early screenings are going overboard in their praise for Adam Sandler. So maybe it's a possibility. It's not. People seem to like it.
If Adam Sandler starred in a Ryan Coogler movie, they may have to jack up the tomato meter to 200%.
You're such a little bitch sometimes. Connor Easterday says, in the original reporting of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel news, it was mentioned that Margot Robbie was open to a reunion. Do you think she or any of the other non-Leo cast members from the original would rejoin? Yeah, we're getting Damian Lewis back as Steve McQueen. What do you think, Jeff? Do any of these guys come back, maybe?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything to that effect.
Yeah, it would seem odd if they did, because it seems like they want to explore something else. We might get a Pacino, a De Niro. It's the 70s, so maybe a Hackman.
If anybody, I want to see fucking Bruce Lee again.
Yeah,
bring him back.
Yeah. And actually,
a rematch.
Yeah, a rematch. That's right. In real life, a rematch. Jay Blink says, I thought you were prepping to model more, Jeff, with that robe. There you go. That's right.
I could. It just depends what kind of modeling.
Poisonous Plants 15 says, thoughts on Peter Berg's Mosquito Bowl with Skarsgård. I haven't heard anything about this, Jeff.
I'm writing about that's an item in the next newsletter because I missed it the other day. It's a football thing. It's like it's a football movie or something.
Oh, okay. What about the new cast members for the Madden film? Anything jump out at you on that? Now that it's about the video game?
It's cool to see Mulaney get that kind of gig. I mean, when you think about it, like Air, right? Everyone thinks, oh,
Right.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, but like that guy Matthew Marr was a big part of the movie. You know, Sienna Miller, Catherine Hahn, those are like good fits opposite, you know, the two actors.
Right.
Catherine Hahn may be throwing me off a little bit, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie. I think it could be really good. It's a good story.
I hope so. And David O. Russell always surprises when he's not punching people. Poisonous Plants 15 says, when the fuck are we getting a new S. Craig Zoller film? Jeff, when is that happening? I don't know.
I think we're waiting on that Bruiser and the Brawler movie, right? With Vince Vaughn and Adrian Brody. I mean, I'm sure Adrian Brody winning the Oscar probably didn't help it because now he's getting bombarded with offers, and you know that may keep pushing. I don't know. I don't know if they'll wait for Adrian Brody or what.
What do you think about this report that Warriors and what's the other one? The Zach Cregger film, Barbarian, are set in the same universe. Do you buy this? Do you think this is true or is it bullshit?
Who cares? I mean, it's like so silly. It's all based on like a horrible website that Warner Brothers set up to try to like do some sort of Blair Witch era viral marketing, and it's just like another link in this hometown newspaper. And people are like, oh, they're set in the same world because you know there's a link to a Barbarian story in this fake news. Give me a fucking break. Who gives a shit?
Wait till you watch Miller's Crossing and you realize that Barton Arms from Barton Fink is in the newspaper there, and you could argue it's the same universe as well. It happens.
Maybe Weapons is set in the same town, where on the other side of town there's a house with a dungeon. Who cares if we're not going over to that house? What does it matter? I don't understand.
Turbo Man says, I love you guys. It's Turbo time. Thank you, Turbo Man. Appreciate it. Guillaume Labelle says, finally catch you guys live. What's a bad movie with a great concept that you would like to see a remake of in the future for improvement? Ooh, I always answer this one with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I thought that was I love that Alan Moore book, graphic novel, and I thought they fucked up that movie big time now in retrospect. So I think that would be a great one to remake as a series on HBO Max.
I have no idea how to answer this. Not on the top of my head, anyways. I don't know.
Okay. Poisonous Plants says, Frasier, great in Rental Family, saw test screening. Okay. That's cool. Brendan Fraser, right? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Favorite Stephen King film, been giving 50 plus years of hits. Yeah, did you like the new trailer that came out this week for The Life of Chuck? Did you get a chance to see that one?
I think that movie could be really good. It sounds special, judging by the critical praise in that one. But as someone who analyzes stuff, I'm like, what are they selling here? What is the sell here? It's basically This is a Stephen King thing that might be like Shawshank Redemption or something.
Right.
Like, what is the story? I have no idea.
Doug, do you have a favorite Stephen King film?
There are so many. The Shining. It's an easy one.
Yeah. I mean, favorite does not necessarily mean best. So I would say The Dead Zone. That's my favorite Stephen King film. I rewatched the last hour again the other night through commercials. I just love that movie. But yeah.
We're probably looking at it actually. If you look over my shoulder here, Stand By Me is probably.
Oh yeah, Stand By Me is a good one. Yeah, and Shawshank, of course, is a fucking great one. Doug Developer, how much walking, running do you do per day, Roca? Zero. I do not do any walking or running. They have advised me to do 30 minutes a day if I want, but they said it's not necessary for the meal plan that I'm on. So
I thought about it last night, actually. I'd finished all my work at like 11. I was like, maybe I should get on the treadmill in the gym here in the building, and I'll listen to Sarah Silverman's new stand-up special. But I didn't. Nice. I sat right back on the couch.
Yeah. I've got an elliptical machine in the garage that got dust on it, for God's sakes. That's on me. Wiley Toss says, just saw Sinners, loved all the music, history, and references. Bring more of this to the movies. All right, another Sinners convert there, Jeff.
Definitely why I go to the vampire movies.
Again.
For the music history and the references.
It doesn't start out that way. All right. Samo says, what actor, actress of the 90s should make a comeback? I think they've all made a comeback, haven't they? Is anyone being left out?
An actor this is going to be.
Go ahead.
No, I can't. He shouldn't make a comeback.
I like this as an answer, as a question.
Well, okay, because I just listened to the Rewatchables Can't Hardly Wait episode. Give me Charlie Korsmo. What is Charlie Korsmo up to?
Korsmo.
Bring him back.
That's good. Korsmo is good. I haven't seen. What about is Patrick Fugget count the guy from Almost Famous?
Yeah. He's right there, right above my couch.
I thought Patrick was great.
I see him every day.
Ewok says, I feel like Cavill needs to branch out of the genre fair. If I were him, I'd call up Mike White and pitch myself for season 4 of The White Lotus. Dude, I think Cavill could absolutely be in The White Lotus. I don't think that's out of the realm.
Sure. He could be in The White Lotus. I'll tell you, I did think of it this morning when I saw The Surfer, because I was like, Julian McMahon, who played Dr. Doom, he's the villain in The Surfer. Right. That's a guy who I think could fit into the world of The White Lotus.
Sure. What about Sasha Mitchell? Should he make a comeback? Sasha Mitchell, the guy from Step by Step.
Who the
Carrie Green? Maybe, I don't know.
Carrie Green, Lucas.
Carrie Green from Lucas, yeah.
Lucas is one of my favorites.
Sean McCabe, hey guys, just dropping a line. All the best. Thank you, Sean. Shave your beard.
No, dude, it looks badass.
John Ashford says, hi, Outlaw and Sensei Sneider. Is there quota on little kids getting smashed in trailers? Thunderbolts, Superman, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
It's the easiest way to show someone being a hero is saving a child. So it's a cop-out. It's why you see it all the time, because children are supposedly defenseless. So, although I've seen some kids pull some crazy shit. 34 Vorgo says, MCU and Star Wars is a male-driven audience. It's okay to cast women, but if you're looking for women to fill the seats of a new direction, then that look at the fan base seats of WNBA. Prove it with dollars, not anger. It's okay if you're looking for women to fill the seats of a new, look at the fan base seats of WNBA. Yeah, well, listen, the WNBA is making money hand over fist, and so is that new Unrivaled League. They're paying their players 6 figures, bro. So, like, women's sports is absolutely exploding. You can sit in your room and cry and say it's not happening. It is totally happening. The ratings are up. The leagues are expanding with new teams. So, yeah, please don't compare the two. They're not the same in any way, shape, or form.
Cast Caitlin Clark in Star Wars.
Yeah, I would cast Caitlin Clark in Star Wars. You want to make $100 million overnight? Cast Caitlin Clark. Nick Vaughn says, hey guys, huge fan of you both. What's going on with the Fast and Furious? Just saw Vin asking Universal to announce when the next movie is coming out. That's never a good sign, is it? When your lead actor is going like, please announce when the movie's coming.
Yeah, no idea what's going on with Fast and Furious. Again, I'd heard that it was going to go this summer. And that, they were trying to rush it, but I don't know. Sounds like there's trouble behind the scenes. Surprise with this franchise.
I was going to say, not with Vin. That never happens. Not with Vin Diesel, for God's sakes. He gets along with everybody.
They didn't even mention it at CinemaCon. I thought it was a red flag.
That is a massive red flag. 34 Virgo, I Am Legend 2 script. Will it be geek or weak?
A good question. With Michael B. and Sinners, it's like, I know he's off directing Thomas Crown right now, but you want to bring him back to the studio as quickly as possible. Yeah. Is it for a Sinners sequel? Does he do I Am Legend 2 now that Sinners is a big hit, a vampire thing?
Good question. Don Ronald McWhiskey support. Thank you, Don. Look at those cheeks. Look at those fucking cheeks. Dr. Strangelove says, those poor kids playing Harry, Ron, and Hermione are going to get so much shit, and WB is going to do nothing to protect them.
What should they do?
Yeah.
What exactly should they do? Break people's fingers if they type something on the internet? How would you protect them?
Come over here. Yeah, there's not really much protecting you're going to do with the kids. It's our world today, man. Man Sinister McCall says, Beth Snyder Bros versus Gun Bros movie. Cavill, Superman, Zach and Bros fight David, Superman, James and Bros. Special screenings with fanboy fist fights.
So many bros.
I would love to be in a theater for that. Forget the Minecraft screenings. I'll be in a theater for this. Fantastic 314. Truth about investing in movies. Book of Clarence cost $20 million and made $3 million. Ouch. I love my hot mic dudes. That's true, Jeff.
That's what I'm talking about when, I talk about something like Is God Is, where I think that looks like something that people would actually go see. Book of Clarence, what the fuck was that? I didn't see that, despite all the stars in it.
Yeah. You knew immediately when you saw that trailer, like, I don't think so.
No, it has nothing to do with me being white.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Matt Sinister McCall, Beth Sneider, Gunn has a wiretap on Roka's phone. Oh, I hope so. I hope he has a wiretap on my phone. That could be a lot of fun. Dallas, hi Jeff. Rumors saying Sergeant Rock is ramping up on the casting. Anything you can scoop or tease right now? I think people just make up these rumors, then go, Jeff, give us the actual truth. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I do believe that it's ramping up. I haven't heard any. Do you think it'd be a lot of like dudes, right? And any young guy who wasn't in warfare, maybe. I've heard, there was a rumor out there, I think, about Lupita. I didn't put it out there. I don't know if she would do it, but I could see her as a potential love interest for Colin. I could see her doing a Lupa movie. I just don't know if I could see her doing like this DC movie.
I like that idea because she just did more because she was just in the Black Panther stuff. Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't know.
Okay. Now and again, says Jeff, I had a rumor that Tom Cruise wanted Glen Powell to succeed in Mission Impossible. Any chance Powell or anyone else has handed the torch at the end of Mission Impossible 8? Jeff.
I told you what I'd heard after that rumor made its way back to Tom Cruise, and who asked, why would I have to hand it off to anybody? So I don't, we'll see if the final reckoning is the final reckoning or what the fucking deal is. Yeah. I think I'd heard that the movie keeps things a little open-ended.
Of course they
continue. So I don't know.
It's like the final destination. We promise it's the final one. Yeah.
Speaking of super spies.
Yeah.
In a few weeks now, Johnny boy. Heard anything about Jason Bourne?
No, I haven't heard anything about Jason Bourne.
Me neither. Seems like if those are pretty hot rights, they would have been bought by somebody by now. Now that they're on the open market.
That's true. So do you think they let him go on purpose? Is this like a player that you waive knowing you can re-sign him for less on the practice squad?
I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I think that there's just a lot of like, well, if it's not Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Who really care? Like, this is just, why are we overpaying for these rights when we could just invent some other spy? We don't need to have the rights necessarily, unless you want Damon coming back to play the character.
It's true. Let's see. 34 Virgo says, I can't see Sinners making a lot of money, but chef, I think the chef means cooking.
Let him cook.
Oh yeah. It'll make money. Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's going to like be profitable at the end of the day. We'll see.
Okay.
Spent a lot on marketing. This movie's been heavily marketed.
You're right. Owen Lanning still waiting for a Jamie cameo on the hot mic. Who's Jamie? Oh, Jamie. Oh, yeah, Jamie. Yeah.
Who had an answer, by the way, to the bad movies with great concepts thing. I did, because I didn't offer an answer, but Jamie said Pixels.
Yes, sure.
Great concept, poor execution. It was a good answer, and that's why we keep Jamie around. Jamie's a wise man.
SWA says, why is Pedro in everything? It's infuriating. I have no hope for Superman. Somehow Mother Plagueis, the power of many queer, will return. I don't know what that means.
No idea.
He is not in Superman, so you just mentioned that he's in everything, but he's not in Superman.
But he is a little in danger of being overexposed. I do.
Yeah. Yes. But that film is not about him. The Fantastic Four is clearly about Vanessa Kirby. I mean, you watch that last trailer. It is clearly about Vanessa Kirby. And so I think Pedro's doing things, popping in, doing his things, and then popping out. I think he's going to have fun playing Reed, but he's not going to be like Reed Richards' top guy. That's not going to happen here, man. I think they're setting up Sue to do that.
Yeah, I should all see Freaky Tales.
Yeah, I hear that's really good. Yeah. Chips Bewick says, I just saw Sinners. Beautiful movie. Lost me at the middle. I think he was too heavy-handed with the messaging, and the vampires don't make sense. But it's still a beautiful movie? I'm so fucking confused. You mean like it's the cinematography is beautiful? Is that what you mean? But
look, Chips, he can't even, he's like jumping down your throat, Chips. He can't even believe that you didn't think it was a 10 out of 10. This is what I'm getting at. John.
I'm confused by
this is an honest man, Chips.
I'm a fucking honest man. I'm confused though. What he said.
Lost him in the middle. And this is what I've heard from people, industry experts. They said it wasn't a home run.
Okay. But I'm just confused. He said beautiful movie, but then he said all these things that he didn't like. So it's confusing, but maybe he meant the visual cinematography is beautiful, but the story itself didn't work for him. So I'm just helping him clarify how he's going to make these comments.
If you need to clarify yourself, I'll read your comment. You don't have to pay for it. You can just put in the comments saying if you want to clarify.
There you go.
Long thing.
Asul says, did you guys see the news about Pig Village starring Don Lee? What caught my eye about this report is that it's an action movie set around San Diego, but they're shooting it primarily in Korea. I don't know what this is, Jeff. Do you know what this is?
No clue, but thank you, Asul. Thank you for putting it on our radar. Korea doesn't really look anything like San Diego, does it?
Oh, as someone who lives in San Diego for 5 years now, it does not look like San Diego at all.
Not that I've ever been to Korea.
But... Mr. Pappy says, I don't think Cheryl Hines could handle what's underneath Jeff's robe. Much love, bros. Wow.
Bum, bum, bum. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Dom Roland McWhiskey, $10 Roca for Roca to say something bad about Sinners and for Jeff to say something nice. Bad about Sinners. I don't think I like this. I don't think the actress who plays the singer is as strong as the other actors in the film. I don't think she's.
Whoa.
And it stands out. And so at times it stands out. That being said, the two actors who play the Asian couple, they're fucking excellent. So I love them in the movie.
Well, again, I haven't seen Sinners yet, but it looks like a visually exciting movie. I like the way it was filmed and the aspect ratio.
Okay. All right. There you go. That's positive. Anthony Belcher, any X-Men reboot casting or DCU's news, Jeff? Anything?
No. No.
Okay. All right. Daniel Brown says, Jeff, any plans for 420? Jeff.
Yes, I'm getting a massage. I'm getting the massage. Bright and early.
Are they going to massage it into you, or are you're going to have a clean massage, like a sober
massage?
I'm
like, how does one massage an ego? I don't.
Look, if they could put steroids in your body through massages, I think they could put weed through your body with massages. 34 Virgo, must watch 2025 A+ movie you're hearing. Drama. I don't know. I'm not hearing from anybody or anything coming up. What about you, Jeff? You heard any drama that's A+?
F1.
Oh, there you go. All right, perfect. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey, shout out to all you heroes finishing that winter bulk and starting that spring maintenance and then moving to that summer cut. I am currently listening to you all from a treadmill in a popular purple gym. Cheers.
John, right. We could be really thin if we did this podcast on treadmills.
100%.
We did 2 hours a week on the treadmill. That might benefit us.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. If we did it every day, that would be even more amazing. Wayne Edwards says, what's up, J&J? What's up, Wayne? Last night I went out to The Amateur, a solid thriller with a few plot holes. It's a revenge film. You're going to have plot holes in revenge. Shall I show you the plot holes in Taken? I plan to see Warfare and Sinners this week, and I was impressed with how many people were at the theater on a Wednesday night. Yeah, Jeff. It does feel like movies are a little bit. People are going to the theater a little bit more now as we're going.
Movies aren't dead. Don't ever listen to those articles of the movies being dead. Okay, the movies are going to outlive us all.
100%.
Amateur, I found it wildly disappointing. I just didn't care for the ending, and I thought that there were more than a few plot holes. But I did like it a beat more than Accountant 2, I have to say.
Ooh, okay, yeah. I really liked it. So 34 Burger says, will Sentry actually mash people? Will a bloody scene, or will it be that silly ass ink splatter on the trailer? Also, who do you have Feige handing MCU over to? I don't think that ink splatter is silly at all. I think it's pretty harrowing because that's what bodies look like after bomb explosions. And like people talk about it after the nuclear bomb in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, there were black spots on the ground that looked like shadows. And that was what happened, and they were blown up into smithereens. That's what they left.
Is that who's doing this? Sentry?
Sentry is doing it. Yeah.
He's the villain?
I'm not going to reveal that because I know the story of Sentry in the comics. So
I thought he was part of the whole gang. I thought he was a good guy.
There's another side to Sentry. So
all right. Well, I didn't even. Yeah, and that to me was the whole problem with Thunderbolts with the trailers. I'm like, well, who's the villain in this? It's not Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Nope.
You see a figure flying in the air, but anyways, I thought that the shadows thing was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I do too. Ewok says, if Alfonso Cuarón is indeed helming the next Bond, how much say will he have in casting Bond, or will it be Heyman and Pascal's decision?
I would imagine that they'd be on the same page.
Yeah.
I don't think they're like, Cuarón, we're going to hire you to direct. And he's like, great, I want to hire Jeff Bridges as Bond. And they're like, no.
We're drafting this quarterback. You're going to have to coach him. That's no.
Yeah, I imagine that they have already discussed it, and it was like, oh, this is what you want to do with the character. Is there anybody that you see for this? Anybody in mind?
Yeah. All right, let's roll through these Streamlabs, Jeff. Chris says, any additional details on the new Glen Powell or Judd Apatow venture? First, the Natural Order, and now this. Is it safe to say Universal is smitten with Powell since signing the first look deal?
Who wouldn't be? Look at this. Look at this beautiful man.
He's a good-looking guy.
Running Man looked fantastic. Yeah, I mean, to me, Glen Powell is definitely the movie star I'd be betting on.
Yeah, agreed. Samo says, thoughts on Carlos Sofia Gascon's next film, joining Vincent Gallo in the Life Lift? That just makes all the sense in the world.
You just answered your own question, but
yeah, it just makes all the sense in the world.
I mean, that'll be a very interesting relation. If we don't hear something about like what happens on set between her and Vincent Gallo,
yeah,
I'll be shocked.
I mean, they might actually have sex on camera. I mean, he went that far with Chloe Sevigny, for God's sakes, for Brown Bunny.
I don't think that is what the headline would be.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
Screaming match.
Oh, probably the both. Yeah, because Vincent's not really known for being an easygoing customer. Yeah. Johnny says, "Hey guys, Ironheart was filmed way back in 2022, but then it releases this June. Why? Was it because it was another female-led TV show with heavy VFX and they wanted to get it right since She-Hulk was heavily criticized for poor VFX, or any other reason?" It seems like that's a leading question there, Johnny. But that was bad. But they had to move stuff around because of COVID, and so this is where it slotted in. For them, but who knows?
I missed the beginning of the question.
Oh, the Ironheart series that's coming here in June. They announced it's coming out in June.
This is how much interest I have in that show.
Yeah. Jeffrey says, Marvel's VFX artists unanimously voted in favor of unionizing in September of 2023. Will this affect Doomsday's VFX since they have less than a year of post-production to complete such a heavy VFX-driven blockbuster? Yeah. Jeff, I have no faith that this is going to hit the May 2026 date without everybody getting in trouble for overworking their people. There's just no way.
I have no idea. Again, I think it's a possibility that it could move.
Yeah.
But I have, again, there's no script. The script is still the script isn't done. They have no idea who's going to be in the movie.
Not according to Anthony Mackie. He's like, this is great. The script is great. I'm loving it. I don't know.
He also loved the Brave New World script.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Doug Developer says, anyone who has dreamt of becoming a Hollywood director / producer would definitely reconsider after watching The Studio. Which above or below the line jobs would you take? I would now much rather be a writer or editor. Seems less stress inducing. Are you kidding? I'd be a studio head in a minute. In a minute, I would be a studio head. The power you could yield, the meetings you could make, and just maybe you might survive if you pick out a few hits. What about you, Jeff? What would you do?
Do writer. I mean, shit rolls downhill, folks. I don't think you want that. I mean, I didn't, right? I came out here, I got a peek behind the curtain, and it was like, ooh, no thanks.
I would be the worst version of myself as a studio head. I would absolutely be cutthroat and ruthless and just not care. That's the worst.
I think I'd make a great studio head, but nobody wants to hire me. So
yeah, I think so too. Security guard says, guys, normally I'm at the movie seeing whatever is new that is out on a Thursday night. Would have been Sinners, but I'm waiting to see it Saturday in the big IMAX screen in Lincoln Square, New York, projected on a 70mm IMAX film in the full 1.43 aspect ratio. Can't wait. Love you guys. Yeah, I'm definitely going again to see it in IMAX this weekend. If I can find a theater that doesn't
even see it in IMAX, John.
I saw it in the fake IMAX. What do they call that fake IMAX that they do?
FIMAX.
Yeah, FIMAX. Yeah, I saw that in the FIMAX, but I want to see it in the big 70mm IMAX. So maybe the one at AMC Mission Valley. I'll go to that one. Taha says, thoughts on the White Lotus season finale? Any ideas or info where season 4 will take place? I have never watched a season of this. So, Jeff, did you see it?
Yeah. I mean, I was I like season 3. The finale was a little bit underwhelming. I think the whole show was like an episode or two too long.
Oh, okay.
The finale probably could have been better if they'd condensed some of that material. I wrote in the newsletter that the only 2 places I'd heard were landlocked European countries of Switzerland and what's the other one next to it? I already fucking blanked. But anyways, Switzerland is like, I think that's a good spot. And why? Because Swiss banks, baby. Right? Maybe someone's going to like put something into a Swiss bank. Maybe someone's going to there to take something out. But that's how you get a little intrigue into the series. And it looks visually different than another ocean set place.
Right.
Yeah.
I would just like to welcome everybody who watched White Lotus season 3 to the Carrie Coon Crush fan club. Welcome. I've been here since Gone Girl. It's good to see all of you showing up who have crushes on her now. Chris said, whatever happened to the Butch and Sundance Amazon series with Regine Page and Glen Powell? I believe the Russos were going to produce, but this was from a year or 2 ago. Is it dead on arrival? I haven't heard a thing about that, Jeff. Have you?
That's just a development project. And
okay.
Yeah, I don't really see that ever coming to fruition either. I think Netflix likes to develop a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there you go. What movies _ Matt says, just got back from Sinners a bit ago and it fucking rips. As a black man, I feel fortunate to live in a time where I can see Coogler films like this. Also, co-signing what Jeff said about WB curating press, they have essentially killed Cleveland screenings. It's bullshit. Yeah, I don't have that problem where I live. Because again, it's independent the way it's set up. The publicists invite me. They don't invite me and clear it with WB. And I think there's a freedom in that I like here in San Diego. But yeah, what do you think here, Jeff?
I think they clear it with WB. That's what I think.
Puerto Geekin says Highlander's biggest problem was that it told a complete story. Thus, the sequels made no sense. Oh, if they conceive it as a franchise, it is currently obscure enough that it could be perceived by younger generations as a new IP. Yeah, what do you think, Jeff? Maybe.
What?
Maybe.
What are we talking about?
Highlander. Because it's been so long, it might be successful because people forget that it was an old IP.
No, pass.
Okay, there you go. Dennis says John's Global Entry Fund. Oh, thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. Nerdy Mastermind. What happened to all the nudity in films? I've been rewatching films from the 80s and the 90s. Last night it was Starship Troopers, and there was nudity everywhere. Films feel sanitized now.
Nobody fucks.
Say it again, Jeff.
Nobody fucks anymore. Why? Go on.
That's not our fault. I'm from the generation where we enjoyed nudity all over the place. It's y'all's generation, the new generation, that are really prudes about it, that doesn't want to see sex on film, doesn't want to see nudity. So talk to your people.
It's that it's not, these images won't just be for the people who enjoy the movie, right? It's going to be on the internet. It's going to be for any fucking jackass who didn't pay the money to see the movie is still going to get to see them naked. And I think that is the issue with a lot of this stuff.
That's fair. Doug Developer, Malibu's Most Wanted is my vote for great concept / poor execution. A smart commentary on white talentless artists and classically trained black actors. But it's a guilty pleasure, isn't it? Malibu's Most Wanted. A lot of people like that film.
I mean, I get what Doug is saying with the black and white stuff, but it's also like, what is executed poorly in Malibu's Most Wanted? It seems like they came up with an idea and like kind of nailed it. Whether you think that idea is terrible or not, I don't understand how it could have been done better.
Yeah. Dennis says Matt Maloney teased Taylor Sheridan is going back to films. Would love to see him and Alan Ritchson team up. Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah, dude, Alan Ritchson should be teaming up with everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I think listen, Taylor Sheridan got his start in movies, and it seems like the shows are maybe winding down a little bit. I'd love to see like another big Western from him or something just masculine and macho. I mean,
Sicario, Hell or High Water, and or Hell and High Water, something like that. And then Wind River, man, that was a great movie.
Yeah, he went on a fucking run.
Yeah, he did. Alan Smithy, excellent show, great scoops. Take my money, more chest hair. There you go. Woo! Oh my. And our last one, I think, 34 Virgo. Who takes over for Kevin Feige, Jeff? Who takes over?
Kathleen Kennedy. No.
There you go.
Who takes over? I mean, it's probably not Nate Moore anymore. He left.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
James Gunn. Once DC gets him out of there.
They bring him back. DC fires James Gunn and he comes back to Marvel, having successfully sabotaged DC.
You did the Lord's work, James. Come on back. One last one for what movies _ Matt says, Roka, I mean, we just don't get critic screenings for WB except for every once in a while. Only confirmed one we have coming up is Superman because it filmed here. No critics are getting them here. Well, yes, WB has absolutely become more, what's the word I'm looking for? More selective with what cities they screen their movies in, for sure. There have been some W ones that haven't come to San Diego. So, yeah, but that's happening all over the place.
But if you were in the Critics' Choice, buddy, you would get invited to the screenings there in Cleveland. So
that's
get
possible.
To a national organization, and they'll make sure to have the screenings for you.
Hey, gives me views on YouTube. That's what I care about. All right, Jeff, anything more? Shall we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up, baby. I'm going to a sound bath in the building in a half hour.
Ooh, nice. Enjoy that stuff. All right. Well, there you go. That's our show. Thanks to everybody who joined us. We had almost 900 of you joining us for the majority of the show. Thank you so much, Jeff. Please let people know where they can find you. Subscribe to your newsletter.
TheInsnider.com. Tomorrow morning. Fun shit.
Ooh.
And yes, you're right. That's all I'll say. You guys are right. You read my mind. Congrats.
Oh, interesting. All right, there you go. As for me, you can follow me at The Roka Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky and Threads. And please remember to subscribe down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button. Let us know your thoughts on all the stuff we talked about. Don't forget, we are a podcast as well. We're really trying to get those numbers up. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us some love. Thousands of you listen and watch the show. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. That would help us get some sponsors on that as well. As for me, we've got Geek Buddies coming up this weekend, and I'm doing a 2-day WrestleMania watch along. So come and join me live as I watch both day 1, day 2, and possibly the NXT event on Saturday as well. But until then, we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Peace. Until then.